Want to play hide and clap?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and welcome back to another retro review. I haven't done one in a while, and it is the month of October, so we are talking all things spooky here on the channel. Besides some of the other videos I'm way behind on and trying to catch up on. Today, I'm going to be talking about The Conjuring. This came out in 2013. This stars Vera Farmiga and Patrice Rushen, and is directed by James Wan. And this is, of course, the first in the long line of the Conjuring universe movies. There's been 2 Conjuring movies, 3 Annabelle movies, and I believe like 3 Nun movies. And I think they're all characters that originated from the Conjuring franchise as a whole. In a retro review, it's usually a movie I haven't seen before in a very long time, or just one I've never seen that is relatively old and I am taking a look at it. And of course, we are talking spooky stuff, and I was incredibly nervous actually watching this movie initially because I don't do a lot of horror movies. It's not really my bag. It's more my husband's bag. But as I tend to do with the month of October, I try to do more. And this was actually spooky. It was suspenseful. It made me jump once or twice, and I did have my hands above my my eyes a few times, but I made it through, and I want to talk about it. But before I talk about the movie, I'd just like to say thank you so much for checking out this video. If you happen to be new here to the channel, my name is Will, and I do geeky stuff on the internet. I do reviews and reactions, discussions, some gaming, some drinking. I just like to have fun, and I hope you do as well. If that's something that interests you and it happens to be your bag, and you'd like to hear from a geeky bear like myself, please subscribe to the channel. It would really help me out trying to hit a goal of 650 subscribers this year. I would just be happy to get to 600. So any support would be greatly appreciated. So The Conjuring is based off of a true story. It follows the untold case of Lorraine and Ed Warren, who are demonologists. These are real people. And this is a story about one of their cases that was never really talked about until now. It's about a family who lives on a farm, and they are being tormented by a demonic spirit. This spirit has a long history on this land and has affected a lot of different people, and just happens to be affecting this family, husband and wife, and a total of 5 daughters. Lorraine and Ed are asked to come investigate and try to help this family who are being terrorized by malevolent spirits. I will admit, I kind of did the thing that might be stereotypical when it comes to people who go see scary movies in theaters.
Don't go in there!
Why the hell is this family still here? There's like, after the first incident, literally the dog getting killed, why did you stay? The dog was like, I'm not going in there, and then it's dead the next morning, and it just trickles into this unstoppable force that this family has to deal with until Ed and Lorraine come in with their ragtag crew of people, an assistant and a sheriff, and to try to stop this force from completely annihilating this family. I really enjoyed the cinematography of the movie. I really like how it played off of like the really dark shadowy parts, and it really gave you that sense of terror and fear, at least for myself, when I was expecting something like a jump scare and I didn't get that, which was even worse because I'm sitting there like, oh god, here it comes. And but I laughed too in certain aspects of just how the family acts. It's like, this is like 1971 when the movie takes place, and like they're being a family, they're having fun, they're playing games. They play this game where they're blindfolded, and they have to try to, it's like hide and seek, but you just like clap to try to get the person to try to find you. And it's just like, they're playing it in a house they just moved into. And at one point, they're playing it on the 2nd floor. I'm like, why are you blindfolding yourself, walking around a house that has done nothing but terrorize you and your family? And the fact that you're still there is the other part. It's like, would you just leave? But it got to the point where it's like, well, you can't leave now. It's like, well, you should have left after the dog died. Just saying. It actually did get pretty intense in a few spots, especially towards the latter half of the movie, once the spirit has made itself much more known and present. It was pretty, I want to say scary. It was scary, but not to the point where I didn't find enjoyment in it, I was very much more surprised. I think because it wasn't what I was expecting, where I was expecting this stuff just jumping out at you like every 2 minutes. It was really much more psychological and much more of like the unknown is where the real fear was coming from. Like once you saw the possessed spirit and it started inhabiting the mom and stuff like that, it didn't really become scary anymore. It became intense, but not really like, oh my god, this is causing me to piss myself. It was really more so those moments where it's like, it was the scene where one of the daughters is in bed and gets pulled, and then she, for some reason, decides to stick her head over the side and look underneath the bed. And I just kept seeing like, leaning back, you're like, no, don't, like, why are you doing this? Like, what is wrong with these people? It's like, just leave the house. Why is that a problem? But it really became more enjoyable, like, once you really started getting kind of into the nitty gritty of everything. And I know this is just the first in a long line of the movies. I can see why a lot of people think the first one is like really good, because it really was. It really gave me that sense of unease as I was watching it, and not knowing like how bloody this movie might have become, or if it was more so just about like really playing with your perception of like the space and what's around the corner as the camera slowly rotates and things like that. Is something going to be behind the person? That sort of thing. I think that was the enjoyable scary that I actually liked about the movie. It's a really good movie, and I'm sure many people have seen it. I'm very late to the party when it comes to this movie, but as someone this is their first viewing of it, I can see why this movie is held in such a high regard in terms of like the intensity of the scares without being cliche, like just a jump scare, just try to make people jump for jump sakes, you know? It's like, it was a real uneasy feeling seeing some of the imagery and how they were playing with the use of lighting and perspective with the camera. It was really cool and intense. And it was actually neat because it is set in the 1970s, how they used the technology in order to detect the spirits and things like that. Because I've seen a lot of modern day ghost hunting shows, and some of them are just really just entertaining because it's like,
hey there demons, it's me, your boy.
I am more of a skeptic than a believer. I believe there is something there, but I'm more skeptical with a lot of things like that. So I think this is why I enjoyed watching the movie. And also because it wasn't gory to be gory. It wasn't like super, like a lot of body horror, things like that. It had those intense moments, especially with the exorcism scene. But it wasn't that type of movie that is just like blood splattering everywhere or something like that. So I really actually enjoyed it. Would I watch the sequels? Maybe. But I think also the fact that this is based off of a true story makes it even much more intriguing to watch. It's not necessarily like, oh, it's just a story just to tell a story's sake. This happened to real people. And I'm glad it had somewhat of a happy ending at the end of the movie, somewhat. But let's be real, that family is getting therapy for a very long time. If this was a black family, this thing would have been over in 5 minutes. Because I'm sorry, at that first sign, out. See ya. I think that's the one thing I like about doing these types of movies at this time of year, because I don't go out to actually personally seek going to a horror movie. It's just never been my thing. So as I've gotten older, I felt, as being someone who is becoming more and more engrossed in this sort of space and this sort of community when it comes to talking about movies, I want to broaden my horizon. So tackling movies that on the surface or just by hearing about it, I would normally avoid, by experiencing them, I think I'm also overcoming certain insecurities of myself. So that's one reason I really enjoy doing these types of movie reviews, or going back and revisiting movies in a genre that is not necessarily my go-to genre. And actually glad I checked out The Conjuring. It is intense. It has genuine moments of terror without being bloodfest or gory. Slasher for slasher's sake or something like that. It is the more psychological horror, which who knows how this is going to affect me when I go to bed. We'll just have to wait and see. But I actually enjoyed the movie. After like the first like 25, 30 minutes, I actually started getting into the movie a little bit more. And beyond just I switch over to making jokes when I'm nervous to how is this going to go? And even being that is based off of a real story, like how did this happen? Like how did this resolve and things like that. So I was aware of the Warrens before seeing the movie. Like I knew they were real people. I just wasn't sure like how much of this story is actually like not embellished, but you know, true events, that sort of thing. This is based off a true story, but from what I've heard, just based off of conversation with the husband afterwards, about that they actually interviewed the family or like the surviving members of the family many years later, they recounted that, yeah, a lot of this is what happens, and that's makes it even more terrifying in my personal opinion. So obviously, if you've never seen The Conjuring, you should definitely check it out, at least the first one for sure. I don't know if I'm going to check out the sequels. Maybe that'll be a next time thing for the next season that I do this, but we'll see. I've still got plenty of time this month. But if you have seen the movie, let me know what you think of the movie in the comments down below. Let me know how the sequels might stack up without spoiling it, if you would please. But yeah, glad I checked out The Conjuring. So that is going to do it for this retro review for The Conjuring. Let me know any thoughts that you have on the movie in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for checking out this and all my videos. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you happen to be new here and this was your first time checking out one of my videos, hopefully you enjoyed this review, and hopefully you'll check out some of the other videos I have on the channel. And if you would, please subscribe to said channel, because it would greatly help me out. You can follow me on a lot of different social media platforms listed at the end of this video. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, until next time, I'll catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.